All right, let's jump right in. Today, we're talking about what's probably the next big thing in AI, and it's called agentic workflows. And look, if you think you've got a handle on what AI is capable of today, you might want to buckle up, because this changes things.
So let me just throw a number at you. 33%. What's that? Well, Gartner's predicting that by 2028, a full third of all enterprise software is going to have this agentic AI baked right in. Now think about that. We're at less than 1% today. So this isn't some sci-fi far-off idea. This is happening, and it's happening fast.
And that really gets to the heart of what we're talking about today. The whole game is changing. AI is evolving from just being a tool that does exactly what you tell it to into a genuine teammate that can actually solve problems with you.
All right, so what are these agentic workflows? I know it sounds a little jargony, a bit complex, but the idea behind it is actually super straightforward. It's all about getting AI to move past just following a simple to-do list.
Okay, so here's the textbook definition. The keywords you really want to latch onto are make decisions, use tools, and adapt. See, the old way, traditional automation, it just sits there waiting for you to tell it every single little thing to do. An agentic system, you just give it a high-level goal and it figures out how to get there all by itself. It's kind of like the difference between giving someone turn-by-turn driving directions versus just telling your self-driving car, hey, take me to the airport. I love this analogy because it makes it so clear. Think of the old AI workflows like a factory assembly line, right? It's great for doing the same thing over and over. But if one little thing goes wrong, a part is missing, a machine jams, the whole line just grinds to a halt. Agentic AI, on the other hand, it's more like a really good project manager. It looks at the goal, sees what tools it has, and if it hits a snag, it doesn't just throw its hands up. It finds another way. It problem solves on the fly to get the job done. So you're probably wondering, how does this AI project manager actually, think? How does it work? Let's pop the hood for a second and see what's going on inside that allows it to be so independent. It really comes down to these three core abilities, and this is what makes it so powerful. First, there's planning. The agent can take a big, complicated goal and break it down into a logical plan. Then, and this is huge, it can use tools. It's not stuck with just the information it was trained on. It can go out and search Google, pull data from a database, or connect to another app to get what it needs in real time. And finally, there's reflection. This is the crazy part. It actually looks at what it's done and critiques its own work. It asks itself, could this be better? And then tries again. That cycle of planning, using tools, and self-correcting, that's the magic sauce. Okay, that's the theory. Sounds pretty amazing, right? But what does this actually look like when the rubber meets the road? Let's take a super common business task to make this real, hiring someone. And wow, does this table lay it all out? The old way, it's just painful. Someone in HR has to write the job post, manually put it up on a dozen different websites, and then they get buried under a mountain of resumes. Now, look at the agentic way. You just give it the goal, find me a senior software engineer. The AI agent writes the description, blasts it out to the right places, then reads every single resume, scores them, and gives you a neat, ranked shortlist. And get this, it even handles that awful back and forth of scheduling interviews by just looking at everyone's calendars and booking a time. It's a total game changer. All right, let's switch gears to a totally different part of the business to show you this isn't a one-trick pony. Let's talk about something everyone loves, invoice processing. Yeah, I know, it's a nightmare. The whole point here is getting rid of all that tedious, mind-numbing work that's so easy to mess up. Think about it. Manually typing in data from an invoice? Nope. The agent just scans and pulls the data out. Having to check that invoice against a purchase order line by line? The agent does it in a split second and flags any issues. And my favorite? Having to chase down your boss for a signature? The agent just automatically sends it to the right person based on the rules you set up. The whole thing just works. It's faster, way more accurate, and it runs itself. But look, like any new technology this powerful, it's not all sunshine and rainbows. There's incredible promise here, for sure, but there are also some real-world challenges and hurdles we have to talk about. So let's get into the good and the not so good.
So on the promise side, the benefits are pretty obvious, and they are huge. We're talking about a massive boost in efficiency. You can scale up what you're doing without having to just throw more people at the problem. You get that operational autonomy we talked about, so things don't just break all the time. The system gets smarter as it goes. But the biggest thing, I think, is that it empowers your people. It frees them up from all the boring, repetitive stuff so they can actually focus on the work that requires a human brain, the strategic, creative problems.
Okay, but then there are the perils, the challenges. That autonomy that makes them so smart, it can also make them a bit unpredictable. You might not always know how an agent is going to tackle a problem.
These things are also resource hungry. They take a lot of computing power, which means they can be more expensive to run. And finally, think about testing this stuff. How do you test a system that might give you a different answer every time? It's a really complex problem to solve. And this quote from Raj Kaneru, I think it just nails it. This isn't about AI replacing people, it's about changing the job. The idea is that the AI agents handle all the complicated, step-by-step busy work, and that lets us humans step up into bigger picture roles. We become the strategists, the supervisors. It's like we're conducting an orchestra of AI agents, telling them what masterpiece to create.
So I really just want to leave you with this one big question to think about. We've seen that AI is making this huge leap from being just a tool to being a real teammate. So the question for you, for me, for all of us is, what do we do now? How do we change the way we work and the way we lead when our most skilled partner on the team might not even be human? That's the future we're walking into.